Thank you so much, and welcome everyone. We are so glad to have you here this morning. We always like to start with a land acknowledgement before we get going with our classes. So we give thanks for gathering together on Dakota and Ojibwe land. We are grateful for the ancestors and the elders' knowledge as stewards of our earth. We honor all who came before us, and we gather today to change the current food apartheid policies by learning, growing, and cooking together wherever we may be. And so for our introductions, I first want to start off by introducing myself. My name is Michelle Shaw, and I started an initiative back in 2019 called Minneapolis Edible Boulevards. It is a food justice program, and we partner with community members to increase access to fresh produce, especially in our green zone neighborhoods. The green zone neighborhoods are areas that have lacked access to fresh produce for decades. They also suffer the most environmental injustices and health disparities. They really are the worst in the state. So we offer resources for people to grow food safely on their boulevards, things like soil testing, instruction on how to do that, on how to grow food, gloves, seeds, seedlings, all those kinds of things. Cooking classes like we're having today. And the most important thing, we hire people from the communities, from the neighborhoods, youth mentors we have started doing to work alongside the people that are giving the instruction. And the boulevards are shared fruit spaces. So people that walk on by are able to get some of that fruit and try different kinds of foods. So if anybody knows of anybody who might be interested, we'll be having applications coming up probably in March. So without further ado for today, I do want to introduce Tamuno Imbu. And he is going to be teaching us how to make a Nigerian red stew. Tamuno works for Compassionate Action for Animals. We have not done a class together yet, so I'm excited about this first one, but he has been teaching cooking classes possibly before CAA, but I have attended a couple. I've attended some of the movies that he's put on. And last night I was listening to a podcast and learned that he was also an advocate for men that were in prison. So there's a lot to unpack as far as the things that Tamuno has done throughout his life. So excited to have you here, Tamuno, and I'm going to pass it on to you to get us started this morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I was getting ready to fight. You got the introduction. I was in. You know how the boxer comes out. You know what I mean? Hey, everybody. Hope y'all doing good on this Saturday morning. Thank you, Michelle, for the introduction. And yeah, absolutely. Social justice, social issues. Have been a passion of mine. I've dedicated my life to. Someone who was raised, I came to Minneapolis at a teenage, little preteen or whatever age. And so have definitely learned a lot from the city, seen a lot, witnessed and experienced all of the things of the gander of the, poverty, drugs, people, social issues that are plaguing the community that have most recently have gotten a lot of light. And so that was part of a lot of the reason why I wanted to, do the work that I was doing before and the work that I'm doing now. I know how important it is to the community and to people. I am Tamuno Imbu, community organizer with CAA. I've been with CAA for about 3 years going on now. Started roughly in the pandemic and right when the pandemic started. So, and been doing cooking classes, cooking demos, since the beginning of that, and it's been fun. It's been great. We've worked with young people, partnered with different organizations. Very excited about finally being able to do this partnership here and to bring this dish that I stumbled across on YouTube. A young lady who was very vibrant, and just the food was very vibrant. And I just, my past is, my father is Nigerian. My mother is from Mississippi. I was born in Mississippi, so I have this duality of those two, soul food, African food, was raised on, both. And this dish right here is a really exciting dish. I've only done it like maybe 4 times. And at first, I would, because it wasn't put into any kind of ingredients list, it was literally on YouTube. I would have to like look at it, incrementally pause it, do the step, do all of that stuff, and then but it was so good that I was like, all right, we got to do it. And so I'm glad to be here with you guys today to do this dish. You're gonna love it. My mom, I cooked this dish and gave it to my mom, who isn't, in the, most best prime health. She has kidney issues, dialysis, all these different things, but loved African food, and didn't tell her, and she loved it. So everybody will love it. It holds well. You can, freeze it. You can put it in the refrigerator or whatever. And it's got a really gardeny, all the fresh vegetables and herbs and all of that stuff, and the tomato paste. Let's jump into it. I'm ready. So one thing with me is that I always say is that let's pull it back up real quick. I'm the co-host when it comes to cooking. The food is the star. I'm the co-host. I'm not the star. The food is the star. I'm the co-host, so you're going to see more of the food and what's happening with the food and me talking about the food than you're going to see me. So get used to it. So what we have here is, one, make sure if you're cooking along, some people like to cook along, some people just like to watch. It's all good. It's all good in the family. I did get, and I know we wanted to make sure that this was going to be something that was economically sound, and so I got this poultry herbs mix here from Lunds. Got carrots, tomatoes, parsley, bell peppers, serrano, yellow onion. I like to use extra firm tofu when it comes to this. I like extra firm tofu, period. I don't really like it like that any other way. And then, of course, you got our spices and stuff, cumin, garlic powder, black pepper, turmeric, and let's get into it. So what do you got in your cupboard for spices? And you can also play around with this, you know what I mean? Other thing with me is, and let's come on over here, because I know we got to do some things that are important in this process, depending on if you're cooking right now, and I can talk about that too. But what do you got in your cupboard? Because whatever you have in your cupboard is often something that you can experiment. Don't go too heavy on, but just try out things, spices and different things of that nature. So don't be afraid to mix it up a little bit. Thing about cooking is people are a lot of times very apprehensive. They don't want to try something. They don't want to mix something, do it the wrong way. And sometimes you get the best recipes doing it that way. But so if you got your extra firm tofu, we just make sure that we or your tofu or however you got it. I usually get it this way. And I just usually get it on out and go ahead and run like some cold water over it to get whatever, all the juices or whatever it was sitting in, to kind of rinse that off. I don't know what that is, but I would serve it. So I like to do that. Give it a good rinse. And then we wanna chop this up, in way that you are going to like it. Let me get it here. So we got this tofu. And so the way that I've seen it done, and I liked it, was just to, get into these kind of quadrants, or whatever you want to call it, and just kind of get them. You could do it this way, or you could get them even smaller and cut them down, and that's fine too. I think that will go well as well. But part of it is, I think one of the biggest parts here is that, this tofu soaks up a lot of flavor, right? And so we need to get to a place where we're gonna season it very, very well, and bring out, because it has no flavor. Tofu doesn't have any flavor, and there's only a couple places I like tofu. And so one of the reasons I get like a cloth, you can get, paper towels, or, extra thick paper towels, or whatever may be the case. And I just kind of get those jokers in there and get them covered really good, because we want to get that excess out of there. Sometimes you can just squeeze it a little bit, but what we're going to have to do for folks who are riding this through is, you want to put something heavy on it, heavier, and let it sit for a little while, to just soak out some of that moisture, because what we want is we want less moisture. So I'm gonna put this over here, and I'm gonna get all type of things on top of it. Got my water jug, I got the flour, you see, you gotta be able to use whatever you got in the kitchen. Just be careful, don't be doing things with knives and stuff. We don't want no blood. Anyways.
Can I pop in super quick? I just put the recipe in the chat for anyone that wants to follow along as we go.
Perfect. So the one thing about that is you want to let that sit. Now, if you can let it sit for longer than 15 minutes, or do it longer, or whatever. You don't have to. I did go ahead and do that with some other tofu, and I've had it kind of sitting there. And so we got it. Now that's gotta, it's not gonna get just completely dry. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be that way, but it's a lot less moisture in it than it needs to, than we would need. And so the important part of this is, the other important part of this is making sure we get something to put this in as we season it. Because we're going to season this stuff now. And so in the other step, and forgive me, I'm still going to be looking at this recipe because it isn't completely in my brain like that. So we got our spices that it's calling for. 1 tablespoon of paprika, teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper, and 1 teaspoon of cumin. And so the one good thing about that is we get to toss these jokers in here, and then we're gonna season them, and then we're gonna go ahead and put a little oil and kind of coat them and get them all together, and then put that in the refrigerator, so that be something that we'll come back to. So let's get to these seasonings. I got my little measuring thing here, whatever you call it. And so 1 tablespoon of paprika. And what I have is, I got smoked paprika. I probably got some other paprika, but I'm using smoked today. I'm not dwelling on that as a problem. But what you do want to do is, and I'm gonna tell you too, I'm not one of those sticklers on it. Oh, it's gotta be exactly to the T, or it ain't gonna taste. No, man. Like, I come from cooking where, the recipe kind of changes a little bit, but overall, it's gonna still taste good because you put that love and that energy into it. 1 teaspoon of turmeric. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, and I just got me some ground turmeric here. I'm gonna put that over there. Just kind of make sure I get it around it. This dish is so herby and so just like vivacious, and if I do say so, it's a little sexy too because it just got that vibe to it for me. You know what I mean? When I first had it, it's because when you eat this too, the vegetables and things you don't really cook those down, so they're like really crunchy, and so it's like. And then I just love that piece. And then 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Get that going. Black pepper. This recipe also calls for white pepper. That was one thing. A lot of people probably never even heard of white pepper. I don't know how many people in the chat could tell me that they've heard of white pepper before this. But, you know, it is something that I was raised on. I was really curious about it too. Let me look in here into I'm gonna try to multitask here too and look at the comments here. And you see I'm just getting it around there. It says, what we got? Is there anything you don't have you want to substitute? Oh, that was you, Michelle. Yeah. So if you don't, I mean, if there's anything you don't have, I don't know. You know, that's a question that just depends on what you don't have. Like if you don't have any white pepper, that's fine. Garlic powder, that's fine. You could just like do garlic. You know what I mean? We could easily just take some garlic and do that. So it calls for 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. You could just chop up or mince some garlic. You know what I mean? And that would be great. I have Chinese white pepper. Is that different? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be different. I never knew that there was a Chinese white pepper. Did you mean you got it from the Chinese store, or it literally is called Chinese white pepper? I'd be curious to know about that. But yeah, I would use that if you got it. If it says white pepper on it, then that would be good. See, this is looking good. We're getting good. We got this stuff coated. 1/2 a teaspoon of cumin. 1/2 a teaspoon of cumin. Cumin is one of those ones, y'all. Cumin, cumin, cumin. Where you at, cumin? All right, got some ground cumin. You gotta get in here. You gotta get a little dirty when you're cooking sometimes too. Now, cumin is one of those spices that I'm not. It's a really powerful spice, so I'm gonna not play around with that over the dish. But look at that. It doesn't look like much, but I'm telling you, it's going to be. This was one of the times that first time I actually in this dish was the first time I ever cooked tofu, and blew my mind. You know, I have had it, and I don't like it at a lot of places. I love it in pho at a specific place that I like. Over off of 26th and Nicollet, I forget the name of it, but if you're ever there, try it. They have a vegan pho. We got garlic powder, we got cumin. It looked like in this it said some things about some different substitutions. But now I think what we're gonna do is let's make sure that we get about, I'd say, a teaspoon of oil of your choice, because that's just gonna help this kind of like meld together and kind of be a nice little marinade. You know what I mean? And so get that in there, move it around, and then we're gonna pop this thing in the refrigerator and let it chill. You know, let those spices get all up in there, man.
Tamuno, where did you say to go on Nicollet?
Say that again.
Where did you say to go on Nicollet?
Oh, I think it's called FOA 76 or something. And it's
Okay.
on, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love their pho there. And the tofu there is the way. And so once I got that in there, got a little oil, give it a little wiggle, you know what I mean? Get those things around there. And we're gonna put this in the refrigerator. Just pop that thing in the fridge, you know, just like anything else. You know, for people who have been meat eaters and all those different things, like, you know, it's, you know, we're marinating things, you know, like whether it's mushrooms or whatever it is, you know, these substitutes is gonna be great. That's gonna be amazing, I guarantee you. So let's hoppity hop to the next thing here. We need to, so we place that in the fridge. Step 4 in this thing here says we got to chop our large red potatoes. I got my large red potatoes here. Did I say potatoes? Tomatoes. And you want to make sure that you rinse those jokers off. You know, just always have a habit of rinsing your vegetables and all of that stuff. And I'm okay with it being a little wet there. That's all right. And so we're gonna chop up our tomatoes. Chop them up. Chop half of the pounds of small tomatoes and place them in a blender with tomato paste. May need to be 2 batches if it's too much. So chop half of the pound of small potatoes. These are the so we got 2 different kinds of tomatoes. One, the tomatoes would be you could have got like little cherry tomatoes like in the dish that I seen. Those kind of go on the dish at the end. These are kind of the ones that I think we're going to put in the blender. So you can just get them into like quarters or whatever may be the case. Let me get my, because they're going into that blender. Let me make sure my blender is on, plugged up, ready to go. Gotta go in there. So, and so you just get them jokers a little quarters, halves, you know, just so they work better in this blending process. Now, just, you know, this is a tomato-based dish. So it's really important to get you some really good tomatoes. You want to have some good tomatoes. You don't want to have some tomatoes that are not. I got, I believe these are just what they call sandwich tomatoes, I believe there are. So I'm doing all of them. I'm doing all of mine, get them in. And like I said, I just got these into some quarters here. Bada boom, bada bing. And I got my blender. So I'm just gonna, let me just make sure here, like I said, I've always had to watch this. Place in the blender with tomato paste. So we do gotta have tomato paste. Let's get that open. It really reminds me, you know, cooking this dish, and I love it too. My father, you know, would definitely cook a lot of different Nigeria in specific. I know that there's a lot of different kind of stews and things. So we use stews and soups from, you know, a lot of tomato-based ones to okra soups. I used to really love those. To greens and spinach and just like a lot of different things, and just always when you're kind of raised on that, you know, every now and then and fufu and all that stuff, I get this urge for it, and so I just want to cook it and taste it. And so I love the fact that we were able to find something that was going to veganize this and show these foods in this manner. Let me look and see what we need as far as the amount of tomato paste, because I just be going in, and I want you guys to feel pretty good here. Let's see here. Tomato paste, 112 ounce. I think it says how much to use. That might be a step that didn't get placed in the tomato. That is not amount. All right, so we're going to use the whole 12-ounce can. So I think you can't go wrong there. So I'm going to go ahead and put these jokers in there. Get them in. Small tomatoes, love tomatoes. This is a really good dish that you could also do around the time we're in harvest, so there's going to be a lot of tomatoes out, farmers markets and all of those different things, and a lot of peppers and all of that stuff. We're doing this here in December. I mean, I know it kind of feels a little bit like it could be, could be harvest time and getting all that good stuff, but we are in December. So boom, we got our tomatoes in there. We let's see here. I think that recipe called for so we're gonna go ahead and blend this, and then we're gonna heat a large pot of tomatoes at a medium high and stir to reduce heat and cover it. And so what that does is that as this is our base, and what that's going to do is it's going to bubble, and it's going to just give us this this great kind of foundation for our stew, tomato base. So let's jump on in. If you got your blender, I got me a nicer blender, but one of the reasons why I got me one of these nicer blenders is because I love shakes. I do shakes a lot, and I run through blenders. So I got me one that got a little more power and speed. What we can do before we get to blending is making sure that we get our pot. I'm going to use bigger kind of pots. I like to rinse my pot just a little bit, and then get it going on high heat. When that water starts to kind of evaporate, I know it's getting hot. It's just kind of one of those little tactics and tools that I use when it comes to cooking. So I turn this up to about medium high. So we're gonna let that get together, but we're gonna blend this. This is gonna go over to there, and then we're gonna keep this thing going here. And I got this whole thing here. Let's see what we got. Pretty fast. Pretty fast. And so look. Smells amazing already. Smells amazing. So this right here already is now one of those. It already kind of smells like tomato soup. Like, so you could. That was one of my cooking classes that I really enjoyed too. Was a tomato soup one. And so you just want to make sure you got a good base. I didn't want to break this up too much. Yeah, see how I stirred it a little bit, and I got a little bit of tomato paste.
Tamuno, just a quick check-in. First of all, how is everybody doing in terms of keeping up?
Need a quick second here. We haven't started blending quite yet, but we're getting close.
Okay. Cool deal. We can check on you and see what you got. Okay, look like Matt and Aaron is in there knocking it out.
And how much water did you say to put in the pan?
Oh, I just put like a little half a teaspoon in there. Not a lot, you know. As you look over here now, you can see. Let's turn my light on here. You see the little water I added, put in there. It's already dissipating. So now I know my pot is hot, and so. And one thing you don't want to do is let that thing burn. So if you got your tomatoes blended, we're going to take that in step 5 in here. It calls for us to go ahead and pour those tomatoes into this large pot. So we're going to do that.
Mom and Dad, how are you doing?
Right. It's a hot pot. That's a hot pot. All right, all right. So we're gonna immediately start stirring that. I just take me I like this one. I'm stirring. Give one of these kind of nice little jokers here with a little rubber end. Just get in there, start stirring it, just so that you can see the consistency of it. Get around the top. I turned it down a little bit, but I'm gonna turn it back up because I was a little nervous around the timing of it and getting everything going. But this is our base, folks. This is the real deal. So, you know, you want to make sure, you know, you could do easily some great things already. We could have put garlic in this and blended it already, you know, whole garlic pieces and everything, you know. So you can play with this foundational piece if you ever wanted to, you know, in any ways. So we got that. We got our tomatoes. You know, put them on high for about a minute. So to get them up, because one thing is cooking this is you'll see kind of like pancakes. When you're cooking pancakes, when you flip it and then you're looking to see kind of when it's done, there's things that start happening. Look, we got some popping going on here. We got some popping going on here. So boom, boom, boom. We got that. We got it up. We're gonna let that. We're gonna just let's stir this a little bit while it's doing. I don't want us to cover it right at this moment. Just kind of stay on it a little bit, giving it some whirls while the heat is really going up. Because as I look at mines, I don't want to just leave it just yet. I'm just gonna, you know, this is like the foundation and the base of this. So just like with Italian food, you know, the tomatoes, the way that they take time and pay attention to it and stirring it and all of those things is really important. So I'm gonna talk while I'm stirring, talk a little bit about the next step so you can kind of anticipate a little bit here. The next step is for us to, the next step in this is that we're gonna cover this. We're gonna put it on simmer. And there's gonna be some beautiful things that are just gonna happen with this. So but then the following step after that is we're gonna get into frying. We're gonna get our favorite. I got grapeseed oil or whatever oil you have, and then we're going to take our tofu and we're going to brown it and cook it and get it all together, and so that's ready to do some amazing stuff. And that, in that pan, that frying pan that we're going to be using is going to be, it's kind of almost like a one pot dish at that point. We're going to be using that, and we're going to be using a lot of that flavors and everything to keep it going. So we're getting really good here. I got it at a really good temperature. I'm going to turn mine down now to simmer. Mike, and if you just got a stove like I do, we're just going to go ahead and put that down to low. Let's keep stirring. Still a tad bit. We don't want anything to just be sticking. You probably can't see with all this happening, but should be a lot going on with your foundational tomato stew here. So still stirring that a little bit. I'm gonna let it sit for a hot second here, and I'm gonna grab me something to cover this up with. It's okay too. I got a little left in my thing here. I don't like to waste it. Let's bring it on in. Get it. Bring it on in. Get it all. Get all that goodness. All right. See here. Cover. See what we got. Let's see what we got. Yes. This is a good one here, guys. This is gonna be a good one here for this time of the day too. You know, you get this, eat this, you're gonna feel really good. And look, if you notice, we haven't put any salt. You know, we're not adding salt right now. One thing about salt in cooking is that, you know, you can put too much and then you can't take it away. I like to cook a lot of times with low salt. I've been watching even a lot of ingredients that I'm using, seasonings, pre-seasons that already got all these different seasoning blends in them, and they're like really high in sodium. You know, family has you know, a long history, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, you know, all these things, and I've devoted and vowed to myself that I do be active and eat well and do my part to have a greater quality of life in the later part of my life. This helps that. So, all right. So now I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna take. I like this aisle, so I'm not tripping. I'm gonna remove this one from there and let that do what it needs to do. And I've already just put a little water in there. So now what we're gonna get to is we're gonna get this tofu going. So I'm gonna turn this up to about medium. Same cool concept. I had looked at half a teaspoon of water just in there. It's just a visual for me that lets me know when the pan is hot and hot enough, because this is important. Anytime you're using a little bit of oil or doing whatever, you don't want the pan to be extremely too hot and burn things right away, because that's not a flavor profile in our food. We ain't doing burn and then calling it Cajun. No, we're not doing that. So let me get a little rinse on my blender here. So I'm kind of cleaning and working at the same time, you know. So let me just check in the comments here too while we got a hot second, just see how everybody's doing. See how things is going here. 426, that's it. That is it, yes. It's labeled Chinese pepper. I got it from an Asian market. Grace, yes.
Tamuno, I have a question.
Sure.
So did you say simmer? Is that where our tomato sauce should be?
Yes. And if you don't have that type of stove that has those settings, just take it down to low.
Okay, awesome.
Yep. Yep, there's so many things that happens with that tomatoes, that just those tomatoes. It's going to be amazing. You're going to see like oils and just different things happen, and it just creates that stew. Like, I'm really surprised I don't do more stews, you know, because it's such an easy thing to create on your own. So I know we're getting close to that time. Let's get to going here. We got our.
Did you put oil then in the other pan or water?
That was just a little water. I'm going to put about couple teaspoons. Couple teaspoons in there. Just start with that and just see. I like to make sure this whole thing is kind of covered. It's at a good space. And then this tofu is done. You know, you can also do this where you have this tofu marinate overnight too, you know, so, you know, and have it really, or for hours or whatever you want. I think I'm gonna put one little more teaspoon of that, just a little bit. All right, so let's get it in there. Let's get it in. Let's get my tongs. Where's my tongs? Got my tongs. All right, so let's get to it. We got it on medium heat. We got some seasoned stuff here, as you can see. So like, it's already kind of frying a little bit. It's a really light layer of oil. I know some people don't like to use oil and they stay away from oil and all that. So I used a really light layer here. To be honest, I probably would use a little bit more. But it's already those spices. Right there alone, we've kind of created, you know, something that you could do and create and do something that I'm gonna put a little bit. I just feel like maybe my stove is leaning a little bit, so it's not getting in there. And so this alone, we're gonna let this do 60 seconds on each side, just to kind of almost sear in it a little bit. But this alone is amazing. The smell. This is where we get to starting to get our stuff together here. Now we're gonna really be smelling and feeling like we're doing something. We've been doing a lot of prep and getting things together and all of that stuff, but we got our tofu, 60 seconds. Then next step, we're gonna do a slice up of serrano peppers. And this now is creating our base of flavors too, this seasoning. So once we take this tofu out, we're gonna start putting our veggies and other things in here and using this as that one pot kind of dish style that I was just talking about here. So, smelling amazing. I think you got about 60 seconds on that side, and that's just like, you know, just a starter. I like to just shake them up a little bit. Might move around the oil. Move it around and kind of get a little. Move all those spices and all that. It's good, guys. We'll be doing good things here. Good things happening here. And so we'll give this another 60 seconds. And while we're doing that, I think it's time we start chopping up our serranos. Got me a serrano pepper. I just go from the top and top that off. And then I typically will go and just get to like 1/3 of it, and then open it up and try to get those seeds and stuff out. If you don't like that type of stuff, I don't really like that type of stuff. And like if it, sometimes you can be careful, don't cut yourself. No rushing. Be very careful. And some of those seeds. I'll get rid of that stuff too. And then I'm just gonna chop these like this into, I just cut it down the middle and I'm just gonna chop it like that. Use this whole piece here. This is where you really learn I'm not a chef when it comes to chopping. I just be chopping. I'm not one of those. I don't got those skills. I don't have it. But I do know how to cook some food and make it taste good. So we got those. Got those going. Let's go over here and check on these because it is a little bit over. I'd say that's a little over 6 seconds, but that's fine. I'm flipping them back over. And they're looking really mighty good. Got some good flavor. I'll say let's let them sit just a little bit and see. Let's check on this tomato soup. As you can see, there's those craters and things that are happening. The stew is something stewing for sure. And so that's good. We're gonna let that do what it needs to do. And now our next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna cube up the bell peppers and add them to the frying for two minutes. So I'm gonna leave that. I'm not gonna stir it or nothing. I'm just gonna leave that. Let me go ahead and get. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put these things back to the same thing. It's okay. Take these. Look at that. Flavors, and what we can do too is just to not let this pan keep going. I'm gonna take it off the heat. I'm gonna take it off the heat because it's hot, it's doing a lot. We still gotta chop up our peppers and stuff, and we don't want that to be burning and getting any more out of whack than it already is. And so we got our serranos. This is the other beautiful part of this dish, the peppers. Start with the color. I love it. I couldn't find any red ones where I was at, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Like I still love a very colorful dish. And again, I go 1/3, a third, and I just kind of go around it. This is just how I do it. And just get it. And so these are going to cook similar in that fashion. You can, we want, from the way the dish is, these are not like a dice, but like cutting them into nice kind of chunks is the way that I felt that it really, really made the dish. It really just put a signature on the dish for me that way. It's just like having it small dice and things of that nature. And again, and that's all right. It's okay. Nothing has to be perfect. 1 second, folks. All right, folks. Quick reminder too is that we're going to save half of these peppers. We're not going to use all of these. Some, these are going to go in, and then some of these are going to be used for later when the dish is done. And just amazing. Love me beside me. All right. And like I said, you could use any kind of bell peppers, any colors. Again, it just really, when you're eating, you know what it is. You know what it is. It looks so much better when we got colors and all those different things. And I'm not trying to make this perfect by any means. Just cooking. We cooking. So we got bell peppers, serrano peppers, chopped up. I think we probably should, while we're at it, go ahead and get these carrots. Next step is leaves and poultry rinse. The next step would be to add the leaves and the poultry blend to the pot and all that. But I think for the sake of cooking and chopping up stuff and all that, let's go ahead and get these carrots chopped up too while we're at it. Let's see that on here. Doesn't even say, but we definitely know we have carrots in it. So I got these carrot tops, they're a little messy, but I'm gonna take 2 of them and I'm gonna all right. So we got some tomatoes. I can't find my grater, whatever it is. That's okay. I'm cool with that. I could easily go and just not even really care about the way that the skin is, but I'll go ahead and just get a little bit of that off, just so it's not crazy looking. How's it going for folks? How are people looking? I know your kitchens are smelling good right now. A little excited.
The tofu still.
Your tofu what?
I still want the tofu, but I have all my veggies cut up.
Oh, okay. You ahead of the game then. And again, you cannot use carrots if you want to. It was just, something that I seen and I kind of really like I said, the one thing about this dish, I really just like the crunch. I love the crunch that comes along with this. And that is partly, carrots a little while to kind of cook them down or whatever may be the case. And so I'll just chop these into kind of like these, what do you call it? Little thicker, some a little there. Goes my about as good as I am. There we go. Got it. Might as well go ahead and get this onion done too. So we can have it together and we can get in and we can make it all happen. Put this all top. I got me a really big one. Probably gonna use 3/4 of it. a really large one. And I am going to slice these. I'm gonna slice these. That's the way I kind of want to do it. Just like a hole like that. Just go ahead and inside of me. All right. Saturday morning. Appreciate you guys showing up for this and cooking with us, making this amazing dish. Got the recipe. I'm sure you're gonna love it. You're gonna want to do it again. So now we got a lot of our stuff chopped up that we need. The tomatoes will be something that you can do quickly at the end to add to your thing. So don't really worry about those. Last time I used those little tomatoes that go in salads, and it was amazing. So but what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go back to this pot. So we took it off. We're gonna put it back on. Now imagine if we had left that on, that would have been a problem. We would have had, stuff burning and all of that. And that's the thing to balancing when you're cooking, balancing what you need to be doing at what time and just making sure that, one, we could have had all of these vegetables cooked already. I mean, chopped up already. But we're cooking along. So I'm adding about another half a teaspoon of oil to mine because I know we're going to be, some of those spices are still in there. So we're going to let that start warming up. And then it calls for us to add the leaves of the poultry blend and stir for 1 minute. And then the next thing will be to add layers of ingredients. We're gonna put our onion, we're gonna put that parsley, we're gonna let those things simmer and get succulent and all that. Then we're gonna add the mixture to the cooked tomatoes in the large pot, stirring all the ingredients, and all of those good things. All right.
So, Tamuno, since I was a little behind, let me show you what I did. I don't know if you can see. Last night I prepared my tofu. Can you see that?
No, I can't see. I can see it a little bit more now. Just lift it up a tiny bit higher.
Okay, yeah, this is what the video showed us how to do to cut it up into the smaller pieces. So it took a lot longer. I really like the way you did it though, in like the 5, because you don't have to then flip, 20 to 30 pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for showing that tip. But now what do I do with the tofu? Do I put it in the pot?
Did you cook it already?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. We put that aside, and that's gonna come in and get all in with the dish once we get these veggies and all this stuff kind of cooked in.
Michelle, we ended up separately on a plate.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. All right. So we got a little clarification. We're gonna add our serrano peppers, half of the bell peppers, before we add the poultry blend. So I got my serrano pepper, got those peppers in there. Using half of the green peppers. And half of my yellow peppers. And we're gonna just stir that up a little bit and let that cook for about a minute. You got that oil. You feel free if you feel like your stuff is sticking too much, you don't have enough oil in there to go ahead and put a little bit in there. I'm using grapeseed oil. It's a very high heat oil. This is one that I love to use. But Now we're getting into this beautiful melody here. We got all of that going there, and then we're going to add the Imbu tofu brand and stir it up for another minute. So let's go back to this tofu one here that I got. It looks like I got some that's rosemary. It's got thyme, sage, all of that good stuff. And so what I like to do, at least with thyme, I don't really like to put the whole thing in there like that. I like to kind of get a little bit of off of the stem. And so I like to just do it, go opposite direction of the thing if you want to. You're perfectly fine with putting the whole stem in there, the whole thing in there. It's perfectly fine. It's just a preference of my own. I do put some of them in there, and you know, some of them I don't. And so we don't need to use this full thing of herbs here. But that's going to be a preference on how you want it. Now let's get it back over here real quick. Cooking. You see things that are happening. I'm smelling. Okay. See the seasoning that's got all the submerged into those peppers. Now we're talking. I'm gonna set those up so they don't just sit too much. All right, then we're gonna come back. We got our rosemary. We're gonna take that off the stem personally. And I'm gonna chop it just a little bit. Just a little bit. You can easily take these off too. Fresh herbs, nothing like it. Nothing like it. And if you don't have it, there was another thing that's like already chopped up and everything. I couldn't find that one. That was one that I use a lot too. So what I'm gonna do is I got my thyme. Just gonna go. I'm not really chopping it. I'm just getting it into a different mixture. And even these I'll chop up a little bit too. Then I'm gonna put a little leaf or two of some sage. And then we're gonna take this and we're gonna just go on over here and put this in with this dish. You can do one at a time here. Let's go ahead and take this. Mix that in a little bit. And if you feel like it's cooking a little too fast, it's okay to turn it down a little bit. You know, you feel like you're getting, oh man, runaway bell pepper. That added so much to that right there. Then I'm gonna add my thyme. The reason why do all those. Boom, boom, boom. Take a little bit of those out again. All fine, it's all good. I feel like mine is getting a little drier than I like the pan. And it's hot. I'm in a high heat. And adding about another little half a teaspoon. I like it to be cooking.
You're muted. You're a little muted.
Say that again.
It's a little hard to understand you sometimes because you're muted.
I'm muted.
Now I can hear you, but when you're like over at the oven, it's a little hard to hear you.
Okay. We'll make sure we get you guys good here. So we're stirring up, and we got that going. We got a lot of good things happening. It's smelling amazing. Next thing that it calls for is, is to go ahead and add the onion, the parsley, and then let that kind of wilt a little bit. So I'm gonna get my onions. I'll use about half of them. I'll use about half of them. So I'm probably going to use some more. And however ways you wanted to use it is good by me. And I know we're a little over. I typically like this dish is one that I had hesitated on cooking because these my cooking classes are right on the hour, and I knew that this one would be a little, but it's just so good. It's just so good that I think we had to run it. And so again, I appreciate you guys coming and cooking with us here today. So I got a bunch of parsley. And so I'm going to take about 1/3 of it and get it. About 1/3 of it right now. And I'll take it off of the stem and all of that good stuff. And then these ones I'll chop a little more. Amazing. All right, let's check on our dish over here, see how this thing is looking. All right, we got action. Now let's just take a real quick look too at the tomatoes that's been simmering. Oh man, this is good. This is a great smell. I love it. Got herbs, potatoes, all type of things. Now, as you can see, it's still just doing what it needs to do. Looking good. Looking good, folks. Looking good. So we got our herbs in there. We got all that. It's starting to get a little oh man, it was, spicy, and the air and everything is like, yeah. So let's take our parsley, go ahead and put that in there. A little third of what we had. And the cooking of these herbs and these vegetables and everything, they're sticking a little bit. But that's like, just keep moving them around, they're popping and all of that. But this is what's giving us those seasonings, spices, herbs, and all that, and even some of the browning of the vegetables and everything is what's giving us that base. And once we put this with the tomatoes sauce, we got it. We are in there. So our onions are kind of wilted a little bit. I think we can go ahead and put a little bit of your carrots in there at this point too. Half of them. I like to put the other half on the other end of them. Right. All of this goodness. Woo-wee. I'm feeling good, folks. This is looking good. And this is really just vegetables, seasoning and vegetables to create an amazing dish such as this. Seasoning and vegetables. Right? Easy peasy. So we added that to the pot. We added our parsley. We would typically cover this up. We would add we cover this up. Let's go ahead and just cover it up just for a little bit. We're not gonna cover it up and leave it for 3 to 5 minutes. I think if you've been doing it the way that I've been doing, then your stuff is really at a great place, and it's fine for us to kind of go into the next step. And what that next step is going to be is we're going to add this mixture to the cooked tomatoes in the large pot. Then we would add a little bit of salt, and then we would keep working with it and then adding in our tofu and all that. So we're going to get to that. Let's do that. So I just covered it up a little bit, gave it a little marinade. Looking good, looking good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this. First I'm gonna stir this up just a little bit. Now we haven't stirred this up at all. Now that I'm going back to this being the star over here, I'm gonna bring this pot over here, reduce the heat for now, turn this heat off. It's gonna start cooking kind of high because it was up high. Actually, what we can do is just go ahead and don't have it on any kind of heat at this moment. Let that aisle go down. That's what I'm going to do. You could have just kept yours on the same aisle and not had a problem. So now I'm going to add this in. Put all of that in there. That's all flavor. That's all that flavor, all those spices. There we go. Looking good, looking good. Stir that in. Get to stirring that. Look at that. Looking amazing. Looking amazing. And so now I'm going to take this. Get it on over here. I got it. Stove should have acclimated a bit. Fine. Fine. We got a good thing going on, y'all. So, this dish is also about allowing for these different seasonings and vegetables and everything to medley and to come together. And to do that, you're going to have to go through a little bit of a process of allowing this to just come together and get all of that tomato sauce and all of those different veggies to just start dancing, coming together. So what we'll do is go ahead and add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna do like a pinch. Because I just, I don't need that much. Pinch of salt. That's my pinch, y'all. All right. So normally we would let this simmer for about 10 minutes or whatever. So I don't think we got to do that. We don't got to do that, because the one thing about this stew is even when you pick out your stuff, you cover it up and let me talk for a hot second. The one thing about this is once you take out what you're going to eat, you can continue to keep this on low for about another 30, 45 minutes. And so the dish that you eat is going to taste a little bit of variation from the one that would taste 30, 45 minutes, but still beautiful. And so,
Tamuno, my phone or my computer died just as you said we're gonna add a little You say water?
No, I
Oh.
added a little. I added a pinch of salt.
Okay. When do we add the cup of water?
So the cup of water would be as this is cooking like this, and it's getting the bubbles and everything just the way that it was looking before, when it was just the tomatoes in it. So then we would add, like right where we're at kind of now, we would add the cup of water and then we would add the tofu.
Okay.
Yep. So, and let's go ahead and get that cup. It's looking good, smelling good. 1 cup of water. Got my cup here. Your house should be smelling amazing right now. So as you can see, as it's cooking, different areas is cooking in different ways, and it's like almost volcanic is what I would say the word to look at. There's little spaces of bubbles, and that's popping out because it's all those different flavors, and it's cooking, and it's just doing amazing things. So I'm gonna add slowly. Don't just plop it up in there either. You know what I mean? Kind of slowly just get it in there and stir it up, stir it in, and that's just giving us, that tomato paste and everything that's allowing us to get it a little used. That tomato paste has made it thicker, but then this is giving it a little more body. So next, we're gonna go ahead and take these, put them in there, submerge them, get them in there. And that tofu is going to, it's going to take all of that flavor that we just brought, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to put these peppers down in there. I want them in there. I want them in there. I want them to really come back to home. It's really what it is, right? This recipe you just did full full circle. We're back to those being in there, and we could cover it up. Sorry. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And in essence, this is really the dish. This is really the dish. I normally would have cooked a dish prior to this so that you could see it, but this is a one pot kind of dish that you don't really have to do that. What we would do is take it out. You can let this simmer however you want for another 10 minutes or whatever, and let that really soak in. And then the other thing is I am going to just take some out and show you what it'll look like. Put the sliced carrots, the tomatoes, and all of that stuff on it, and then, parsley and all that, and you can serve it over rice, or you can have it just like this, which is kind of my favorite. So let me, we got our carrots, we got our bell peppers, we got a little bit of parsley. I'm gonna chop up a little tomatoes the way that I would like that to be in here. I didn't cook any rice. Like I said, I kind of like to do it a little bit like this, and then later the second dish, the second variation, will have some rice. Or I've done it once. I've done it with black rice, which was really interesting. So I'm gonna just get my parsley, chop that up. Take me one of my Roma tomatoes.
Thanks for coming, Aaron and Matt.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys.
And we also like people to take pictures of what they come up with. If you can post them on our Facebook page, we'll get something going on there.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, I totally understand. This is one of those dishes, like I said, that takes a little time. And I was doing a lot of talking. I was just excited to be with you guys here today too. But I'm just dicing up a couple of, not dicing them up, but getting to this stage here. And I'm okay with you. See, I got my blend of my blend of herbs and everything. Got a little bit of tomatoes. And I'm gonna go ahead and just plate this up, and then I'm gonna let you guys get on out of here. But
if I can just add that this is a super awesome dish for the summer when we're growing all these things. And then, like you said, you can freeze it we can freeze it for the winter, because pretty much everything can be grown except for the tofu. So this is an awesome dish.
oh yeah, an amazing dish for that. Amazing. It just smells amazing. I just took a little ladle of it. Just a little bit of that. Put your tomatoes. I like to put some onions, peppers, a few couple carrots, and then the parsley, and voila. I gotta take a picture myself. That looks good.
Yeah, that for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. Let me take a picture. Oh yeah, that came out good. Look at that. I should video y'all videoing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So let's gotta get that reaction. Gotta get that reaction to how it is. I get my little tofu and everything. Really good. It's really making a lot happen here. Again, I forgot that whole tomato base with all the herbs and everything, and then the fresh tomatoes and peppers and all that on top of it. You can eat it like this, or you can absolutely go ahead and put this over rice and get even more full. So, thank you guys. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you guys coming, hanging out. Thank you, Michelle, putting this together, bringing us together. Again, I didn't add a lot of salt. I can still add more salt. This is for folks who don't need to be having too much salt. Add a little pepper or whatever may be the case, but it's a win.
Thank you so much, Tamuno. And I'll just let people know that Tamuno does do cooking classes, so you can check out Compassionate Action for Animals for those cooking classes. We will hopefully be doing another cooking class in February, but we're taking January off. So keep an eye out on Minneapolis Edible Boulevard's Facebook and Instagram pages. So everyone have a wonderful December, and we will see you soon.